Good morning, everybody. It's 7 a.m. on a Sunday morning. I've been out here since just before 3 p.m. Saturday afternoon. I blocked the whole other side of the passenger side fender for the 74 Duster and sanded all the seam sealer that I put in here. I know the factory doesn't do that, but I just wanted to make sure it didn't have any rust coming through and paint peeling off, bubbling up. I even seam seal up in here, down there best I can. Got that little area, got all that sanded down. Over to the other side here. And, the fenders that were on here from the factory, man, you should have seen the globbed up mess of seam sealer they had on here. I mean, it looked like it was put on here with a big tongue suppressor and just literally just gooped on it and packed in it. It was in places where it didn't need to be, and then places where it needed to be, it wasn't at. Like this area right here didn't have any on the factory fenders. And anyway, they didn't put any seam sealer in that area or up there. I can't really get my camera around there. Right across there, I went in and put seam sealer across there too, just to be safe. I just didn't want any moisture to get between there and start rusting and bubbling up. So that fender, I can't flip it over while I'm holding the camera at the same time, so it blocked out pretty good. There were some gradual low spots in it when I used the 20-inch block on it. They weren't bad. I'd put right about a pint, or I think it was a pint and a half, put 5 coats of primer on the outside of it, and it was 2 or 3 coats on the inside. And it blocked out real good. I just went through in a couple of small places on the other side. So that's ready. I'm going to put probably 3 more coats of primer on it with the 1.7 tip. I reduce it 4 to 1 to 2. And then I'll just let that cure and it'll be ready to sand for paint. Now, this has been the gist of the work I've done over the past, let me see, 16 hours, I think. 15 hours? Hell, I lost count. From 3 p.m. to 7 a.m. So it's 12 plus 4, 16 hours, yeah. But this side of the hood over here was worse, as you can see. I ended up body worked it and then primed it, and that was before I put that expanding 3M foam sealer in between the braces. And had to flip the hood over in order to put that expanding foam in there. And I think what happened is I've got this stand here is a Harbor Freight stand. I've got a bigger heavy duty one there that hood's on. But when the hood was flipped over, I had these spread just wide enough to where this hump in the middle of the hood was set in between them 2 black foam pads. And what I think happened is the weight of the hood, because this hood, I'm going to guess, weighs, maybe 60 pounds. It's kind of heavy, and it's awkward for me to hold considering my shoulder the way it is, and I have short arms. My arms are only like 27 inches long. But the weight of the hood, I think, pushed the hood skin down and made the braces closer to it. And when I put that foam in there and it glued it to it, it done its job. It stiffened up the hood a lot, but it held the hood low, and I had a big gradual low spot through here. I had one across here. There's one across here. And then I had one right across here like this. So, whenever I was blocking it, you know, I had several other areas like that. And I thought, well, you know, them aren't bad. They're, you know, it's not good, but it's not super bad. It's not like the rest of this was. But as I got to blocking it more and more, I said, I'm just going to have to do some more body work. So I started spot body working it, and then this side over here, done pretty good. I didn't have to do it like this side, but this side over here, I had to wipe the whole side. And as I told you before, it got hit in the nose here, and I had to cut the underneath side loose and fix all that and build a new piece for it. But this hood, it bowed it down a little, and when it did, you know, it pushed it upwards. And I guess it's made a slight hump in here, and that's why I had them low spots out here and a high spot here. So, anyway, I've about got it done. I've got one little low spot right in here. I got to wipe a little regular body filler on. And had a chunk of something in my Bondo. I think it was a chunk of dried up Bondo that didn't have any hardener in it. And if any of you have had this happen to you before, if you leave them chunks of Bondo in there that doesn't have any hardener in it, even though it's hard and it sands, I mean, you can dig it out with your fingernail and you can tell it's soft. Leaving it in there is a big no-no. And what I've seen that happen, or what I've seen happen before, is the paint will turn kind of a yellowish orange color. And then sometimes it'll blister up, sometimes it sinks in. You know, it does different things. Sometimes there'll be a little circle around it and it looks like it's sinking in around the circle, and that's where the body filler that has no hardener, my guess, is shrinking away from the body filler that does have hardener. So I inspected everything else real good, and this was the only spot I found. So it must just come off the edge of the can and fell in there whenever I was mixing it up. But I dug it out with a razor blade, so I'm going to mix up a little more body filler, wipe that in there with a razor blade, and block that down with a paint paddle. And hopefully next hour or so I'll get my primer mixed up and get this hood primed. Probably going to put, I'm going to say, a quart of primer on this hood, and probably a little less than a pint on that fender. And that will leave me 2.5 quarts of primer left. And hopefully I don't have to buy any more, because I'd like to use all that so I can mix it up as a sealer to seal all the door jambs, all this engine bay area, because I'm going to paint all inside there and this front part. The side parts out there under the fender wells, I'm not painting that because that's all they had undercoating on it from the factory. So that's what I'm going to put back on it after I paint the car. But I'd like to have enough of that primer left, so I'll put black sealer over everything. Make sure everything's sealed off good, everything, the color matches, because this here, I got gray primer over here, and I got some white epoxy over here. And I would much rather have all that black, just like the rest of the car. And then I know all my colors are going to be uniform. So, that's about all for this video here. So, oh, and another thing I just wanted to show or talk about, this little part right here, that is about half the thickness of a dime is how deep that is. You know, a lot of people will look at that and say, oh my God, you know, that's a lot of Bondo, but Dave Kendig and the Ring Brothers and all the kinds of people, you know, they skim coat the whole car. And, you know, yes, ideally, the thinner that Bondo is, the better. I mean, like this here, that's a very thin area. And, you know, you want it as thin as possible. That's just the way everybody wants it. And most everybody's like, I don't want Bondo in my car.